In 2026, this opportunity is going to take off. And here's the thing, the biggest winners are not necessarily going to be the AI specialists. They're going to be the people who spotted early, used the right technology, and avoid many of the mistakes that I made when I was first starting. And how do I know that? Well, because I scaled a voice AI agency to $30,000 a month within just 3 months. And a few months after that, I became the first person in the entire world to sell a voice AI agency. Now, this was years ago. So in this video, I'm going to be coming back and telling you some of the secrets that I wish I knew when I was first starting. So let's get right into this. First, I'm going to explain generally what this opportunity is all about and why it is so important for you to understand. So I'm going to go through this part pretty quickly. Okay. So first of all, a voice AI agency is generally centered around AI receptionists. Now, an AI receptionist is basically a receptionist that can pick up the phone, answer questions, book appointments, live transfer calls to different representatives within the company, and send information and all kinds of other stuff. But instead of it being a human, which has been around for a long time, it's an AI. What that means is it's an AI that sounds just like a human. It can actually pick up phone calls within 3 rings every single time. And it can perform tasks even better than a human could. That's if you're using the right technology, which is why I mentioned that earlier in the video. This only matters, and only is useful to any company in the entire world with the right tech. If you have the wrong tech, you're using the wrong platform for voice AI, this entire industry becomes, well, frankly, useless and more of a fad and more of something that's exciting rather than something that can actually be useful to companies. So, first, I want to quickly explain why some people on the internet are saying, oh my gosh, AI receptionist is done. It's a scam. It doesn't work. It's because of the wrong technology. It's not because this does not work. Every single receptionist in the entire world will be AI within the next few decades. It is not because this does not work. It's because they're not using the right technology. They're using one that doesn't sound human or can't perform tasks well or whatever else, right? Or has really long delay. So when you talk to it, it takes forever to talk back to you. Those are not good. So moving on, I just want you guys to understand what this opportunity is on a base level. Now, who needs an AI receptionist? Okay, good question. So the only companies that need an AI receptionist, truly, I mean, any company can kind of use one, but it's companies that already have a human receptionist. Because if the receptionist is human, then they're probably paying something like $4,000 a month for that human receptionist. They're probably also spending a few hours of training time every single day. Not every single day, excuse me. They're also probably spending a few hours of training time every single month to actually train that rep. And it's probably a hassle to make sure that they're always on time, this, that, and the other, right? So there's a whole lot of problems here. And they're paying $4,000 a month. Now, what we can do is give them a solution that's actually easier for them to manage, pretty much just as effective, and is 80% lower cost. That truly is the business piece of paper, how you're going to grow this agency to be worth $3 billion. First of all, a voice AI agency will never be worth that much money because it doesn't have any underlying technology. But that's irrelevant because you're not trying to build $1 billion company if you're trying to start a voice AI agency. You're trying to quickly make a lot of money. That's what an agency can do. And that's what you can do without a ton of experience because that right technology is already built. Again, I'll talk about it later. Okay, cool. So the first thing I'm doing is getting a client. Now, how do I do that? The first step, in my opinion, and the very first thing that I would do is create a demo agent. Now, a demo agent is an AI, don't mind the handwriting, it's on a computer. It's an AI receptionist that's not for a specific company. So for me, I'd call it Joey's company because my name is Joey. Or for you, you can call it Max's company or whatever. I don't care. Whatever your name is, it doesn't matter. The point is, once you have this demo agent and you go to a company, which I'll talk about in a second, and you actually get in front of them, the number one thing that you can do to close a voice AI deal is show a demo. And the reason is because when you're selling to business owners, almost all of them are going to be older than you if you're the younger audience, but a lot of you guys are younger, but whatever. They're going to be on the older end for a younger audience, meaning most likely they're going to be in like their late 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, not actually old, but old for a younger audience. Okay, cool. So now that we've established that they're on the older side, and I say that because 30 is young and 40 is super young, but whatever. Once they're on the older side, now that we know that they're on the older side, we know that they're going to be thinking about answering machines. So the second that you say, oh, I have an AI caller, they're thinking it's going to be a robot that goes, press 1, Press 2, press 3, press 4, press 5 for support. They hate that. Everybody hates that. Everyone knows. And when they hear AI, right, they're thinking that. This is not AI. There's no AI here. It is a very simple, in today's terms, computer program and a robot that is completely different from AI. It has nothing to do with AI technology. So they're thinking of a basic computer program, or you can call it a robot, whatever. We're talking about AI. Different things. Yes, they both use computer software. They both are computer software, but it's completely different. Okay, cool. So the only way to get them to see that it's not this is with a demo. Believe me, it is the only way. You can tell them a million times, they'll never believe you. They'll say they will, they won't. You need to show them a demo. So cool. Once you find the right technology and you've created your demo, which should not take you more than a couple days max, the next thing to do is immediately cold outreach. The reason I say cold outreach is because it is the best way to initially get your first couple clients. Not because it's the most scalable, which it's not because it's the easiest, it's not, simply because it teaches you how to pitch the product. You will learn more from cold outreach than you'll learn from any other kind of client acquisition, arguably. Now, my favorite is cold calling, and that's because you learn the quickest with cold calling because you're constantly on the phone with people talking to them. So that's where I like to start. So for cold calling, we can cold call local businesses, and I actually have a whole video on me cold calling local businesses, which you can find up here, and I'll also link it in the description, and a whole video on how to script a cold call script, right? So you can create a good cold call script. That way, when you call people, you're actually going to get them involved, actually going to get them interested in buying the product, actually going to try to get them on a meeting. Again, I'll link that up on the top there. Now, you can do cold calls. I would also suggest, and this is a phone, by the way, okay? I would also suggest doing Instagram DMs and LinkedIn DMs, okay? Because these are two more social media platforms that you can quickly get feedback on because you'll see what people respond to and what they don't. Now, my favorite way to actually go about this, and the way that I would go about it if I was first starting an agency today, is I would follow that video up there to create a cold calling script. I'd also create a script for DMing, and let me know if you want me to make a video on that. And once you have that, I would stick to the script for about 50 repetitions, which means you do 50 or with cold calls, maybe 20. So we do 20 cold calls, you do 50 DMs. You see how people respond. You then make a tweak, not an entire change. You don't change everything. You make a small tweak. One tweak. I'm going to be very clear, and I'll explain why. One tweak. This is the scientific process. One tweak. One. Not two. One. Once you made one tweak, you do another 20 calls, another 50 DMs over the course of a day. You see how people respond. Is it better or worse? If it's worse, reverse the tweak, make a new one. If it's better, keep the tweak, make a new one. You continue making one tweak at a time until it converts at a very high rate and you're happy and satisfied. Then you just keep doing the volume. This is extremely important. I'm going to write it out. One at a time. Whenever I see people doing cold outreach, they'll often do completely different scripts every single time. Don't do that. The scientific process is you make a hypothesis, aka your initial script. You then test, aka sending the DMs, making the calls. You review your results, seeing when people responded, seeing how happy they were. You can maybe record this or take notes on every single call that you do and every DM that you send. And then you make a new hypothesis and you rerun the experiment. I don't know if that's the exact scientific process, but it's close enough. If you do 2 or 3 changes at once, you won't know what made the difference and you'll never improve. So you may think, oh, I'm so smart, I can jump ahead, and if I make 2 changes at once, I'll get better twice as fast as my competitors. No, you won't. Because here's the thing, you can think you're really smart, but sometimes you'll fuck up and you'll think that one thing that was the thing that made it better is actually the thing that made it worse. And once you make that mess up and you focus on the thing that's actually bad that you think is good and not the thing that's good that you think is bad, if you can follow that, then, well, what's going to happen is you're going to start making the wrong decisions. And then your script is going to get worse and worse and worse, and you're not going to be able to know where you messed up, and you'll have to completely restart. It takes longer if you try to do more than one change at a time, even though that's counterintuitive. So, once you have that demo ready, you do cold outreach. The entire point of this cold outreach should be for one thing, and that's to get on a meeting. We can be a Zoom meeting, we can do a Google Meet, it doesn't matter. The point is to get on a meeting. Once you're on a meeting with that person, you're then going to show them the demo. Now, the reason I say to create the demo first is because some people will immediately ask for it once you're doing the cold outreach, you can just send them that number, say, hey, give it a call. If you love it, let's hop on a meeting. And a lot of times they'll love it and you can hop on a meeting. So you want to have that ready to go so you can immediately get back to people. Once you're on the meeting, you show them the demo. After they've seen the demo and you run through all the different pricing with them, and you say like, hey, how much are you paying for a receptionist? Oh, $4K? Oh, really? We can save you 80% and save you time. Oh my gosh, really? Yes, really. Okay, so you've gone through this, you explain your value proposition, you show them the demo so they know it's not some stupid robot. You're on a meeting with them. Now it's time to close the deal. Now I have a whole video on how to actually close deals, but the point is now you close that deal, now you get paid. How are you getting paid? Well, here's how I would price my services if I was first starting. I would do a setup fee of somewhere between $2,500 to $10,000, depending on the services you're providing. A lot of people will offer voice AI receptionists with marketing and other kinds of stuff. So depending on what you're offering. Then I would offer a monthly subscription for support and maintenance, and knowing that they can always call you since you're local to them, they're a local business to you. And if they need you to come in and help them with something, you're always there for them. I would charge somewhere between, again, $250 and $1,000. Then I would charge them a per minute cost, because the right technology will charge you a per minute cost. So you'll have to basically pass that cost on to them. Once you've done that, you've just closed a deal that in the first year will make you somewhere between, with the rough math in my head, $4,500, and on the top level, if you do everything I said, $22,000. Again, that's rough math in my head, so I don't fucking know. But something like that's very close to that. Okay, so $4,500 to $22K. Okay, from one deal, and you didn't have to build the technology yourself. And you could literally do all of this starting today, because all you need to do is 50 DMs and 20 calls and create a demo agent using the right technology. Okay, so it's pretty obvious how to do the calls, because I already have 2 videos on it. It's pretty obvious how to do the DMs. You go on your Instagram and LinkedIn and do the DMs. I don't need to explain that to you. If you want to know how to script, I can make a video on it. Let me know in the comments. Now, how do you get that demo agent before you start this? This is the only piece that you might be a little confused about, the only piece that you might be missing. How do you get the right demo agent? Because everything points there. And then also, how do you find the right technology for that demo agent? So the way that you're going to do that is with a technology called NovaEcho.ai. Now, you can look up the website, NovaEcho.ai. It is the most advanced conversational voice AI technology in the world. Yes, I'm involved with NovaEcho. People have been in the comments being like, oh my God, you should let us know you're... Yes, I'm involved. The only reason I'm confident saying it's the best is because I'm involved. I was one of the first people in the entire world to start in what is now the modern voice AI. And I was working with companies that were really big and making millions of dollars a month, but they didn't have the technology that actually was helping businesses. It was just like cool. That's why I got involved with NovaEcho. It is the company that's actually useful for other companies. Okay, the voices are extremely realistic, the latency is very low, there's a lot of amazing features, and it's actually useful for other companies. So there'll be a link to NovaEcho in the description as well, so you can check it out and get started. What you can do is you can use NovaEcho to inexpensively, relatively, use the right tech to create a demo agent. You can then start calling and DMing today to sell to local businesses, to get on a meeting with them, to pitch them, and make $4,500 to $22,000 per year per client. That's what I would do if I was starting in 2026. I don't care what people say. This is not fucking saturated. None of this here, none of this is saturated. There's very few people relative to how many businesses there are in the world that could use this technology actually doing this. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and I wish you the best of luck, because your 2026 can be extremely valuable. Now, last thing I'll say here. I've also created a community that has a bunch of videos that actually go step by step in exactly how I would start an agency, and that includes all the legal stuff. It includes everything. Like, if you really want to be serious about this, it includes every part of the agency, the support, the building agents, everything. It's also linked in the description. Okay, and it will have everything. Right now it's free. I'm probably not gonna keep it free for long because there's too many people in there now, but it's WHOP.com/FONI/join Okay, I'll write it out here just so you have it. WHOP.com/ check that out as well. See ya.